Hey, welcome to another episode of The Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Before we get into this segment, by the end of this video, I want you to do a few things for me. First of all, if you like the video, hit the like button. Please do. If you don't like it, hit unlike. It's okay. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Sometimes, as Jimmy Dole would say, you find yourself unsubscribed and you need to make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell right next to it so you can be notified when a new video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. And more importantly, the super chat will be on for this segment, so if you want to donate toward the efforts of Bob TV, that's freely up to you. I do have a job, but any amount will help toward the growth of this channel. And more important, let us help you help us by introducing you to a program. There's a link down below that says Equal Justice for All. You're going to click that video link, and there's some educational tutorial about a phenomenal program in America that is really making equal justice a reality for every citizen. So this program is phenomenal. The proceeds from you participating in the program will go back, 10% will go back into the Bob TV YouTube channel. So anyway, my name is Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Hey, we're going to get right into it. I want to talk to about Jay Sekulow, Trump's lawyer. Well, you know, Jay Sekulow is a man that's very familiar in my community of the Christian faith, and he's an attorney lawyer. Now, he's not like Mayor Rudy Giuliani or Michael, not Eviani, but Trump's cleaner that's in jail. None of those guys. Jay Sekulow is a very credible, very smart, very intelligent attorney. And you ain't going to be able to joke around with him like they do with the other attorneys that Trump have in his arsenal. He recently went on Morning Joe and talked about how glad he was that the Mueller report that Mueller has completed his task.
Senate, though, joining us now, President Trump's private attorney, Jay Sekulow. And Jay, 5 days ago, the president said, "Let it come out, let the people see it." That's up to the Attorney General. Will he still continue to support the public seeing the Mueller report?
Well, the president has said that, look, it's up to the Attorney General. And the Attorney General said he wants as much of this to be made public as possible. Under the regulations, that's his prerogative, under the DOJ regulations. And Bill Barr, the Attorney General, said he wants to make as much of it possible. He certainly turned this around very quickly. I don't think any of us can complain in the speed at which they were able to get something to the American people, to the Congress, and to the media. And I think that's been helpful. That's why we're here today. So I think this will be an expeditious process. But they've got to look at 6E material, which is grand jury material. You can't disclose that, obviously. That's a crime if you do. You've got to make sure there's no national security information in there that could compromise our national security. That has to be reviewed. So there's a process and steps that have to go forward, but I suspect that he will make as much of it as public as possible, and it'll be sooner rather than later.
So, just an overall question for you. Let me just lob the softball over the plate.
Here we go.
What do you think?
Good way to start.
What do you think about the report yesterday, and what does your client think about the report?
Well, we're really pleased, and the president's very pleased. Look, the fact is, we've said from the beginning that, and this was a big, remember, the impetus for this entire inquiry was initially the issue of the collusion with Russia. Was there collusion with Russian government officials, Russian operatives? And the special counsel concluded that there was not. And in doing that, he issued 2,800 subpoenas, 500 search warrants, 50 phone pens, and interviewed 500 witnesses in 13 countries. So I think that that's a pretty good vindication of what the president said since the beginning, that there was no collusion. So that was good. On the obstruction issue, we're also very pleased. Look, this is what I expected, Joe, that the special counsel would list the facts of what happened, all of which, as Bill Barr said in the letter, were in public. I mean, we saw it in public. The president is not afraid to share his views in public, as you know, and he did. And they looked at those sets of facts, and they looked at the law, and the special counsel came to the determination that these were complex issues of fact and law and would not make a conclusion one way or another. They said they did not say he committed a crime. They did not say he did not. They didn't exonerate. They said we're going to do what we do under the Department of Justice guidelines. And that means what you do is you send it to the Office of Legal Counsel, which they did, which then reviews the policy impact of an obstruction case, which is what happened here. And ultimately, the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General, along with OLC, reviewed it and made the determination that there was not an actionable case for obstruction of justice. So when the president said he was vindicated, he was.
So, Jay, let me ask you.
Now, like I said, Jay is smart. But he said, look, there's certain laws we have to deal with, certain guidelines, and if we don't do it, it could put people in a position where they can get prosecuted, go to jail. We're not going to do that just to appease you numbnuts. Okay? We're going to stick with the law, and that's exactly what happened. That happened with Mueller. That happened with the Deputy Attorney General. That happened with the Attorney General. And right now, we don't see anything when it comes to obstruction of justice. We were vindicated on the Trump-Russia thing. Now we're looking at this thing right here. Now, Joe is going to try to obfuscate and still try to do something. But you're messing with the wrong one, Joe, because even though he's primarily a Republican, I like Jay Sekulow. I've seen Jay Sekulow work cases outside of political events and get the job done on behalf of working people, poor people, and things like that. So you're not dealing with a dummy, Joe.
Do you believe that the special counsel conducted this investigation in an honorable way?
Well, look, it's always, you say it's over and you say it's honorable because it was a great conclusion. But the country went through a 2-year period, and there were a lot of hiccups during this process. I don't have to relay all of them, Joe and Mika, but the fact is you can look at some of this stuff, and it looks like it's out of a movie. You had the whole Strzok-Page situation. You had the situation.
You had members of the Trump administration continuing to lie about their contacts with Russians throughout the campaign. Yeah, a lot of stuff was going on there. I'm just wondering, Ty Cobb and others said that Robert Mueller was an honorable man and they trusted him. I'm wondering if you feel the same.
I think that Robert Mueller did the job he was assigned to do. He did it as a professional, and I am pleased with the result. I am not going to get into whether I think particular actions they took along the way were right or appropriate, because I think some of those were way over the top, quite frankly. But at the end of the day, and you know this, you're a lawyer, Joe, you go with the evidence and the verdict you got. And it's very hard to complain when you have this letter from the Department of Justice. So all I can say is I'm very glad Bob Mueller completed his task and that it's over.
Mike Barnicle.
But, Jay, the language of acceptance of the verdict from the president yesterday was not exactly, the thing is over, let's move on as a country. To your knowledge, is the president going to continue to insist on reopening investigations of Hillary Clinton?
Look, that's out of my zone. That's a Department of Justice, White House counsel issue. That's not.
What the? He gonna bring this mess up. You want to keep this open to try to convict him no matter what. You want to keep this open. You're trying your best to keep it open. Yet you're gonna make a comment on investigating Hillary Clinton. What does it matter to you, Mike Barnicle? Mike Binoculars, whatever. What does it matter to you, dude, whether Trump continue to be investigated, whether Hillary Clinton? I want all of them in jail. Put both of them, put both crooks in jail. Both shouldn't have never been running for office. And now we're dealing with this mess. Trump is right. You're looking at me, you need to look at her. And he's right. You need to go look into that. Forget the emails. Go look at the DNC corruption in the primaries. That's what I say. Okay, but he's going to bring up Hillary Clinton. Yeah, he want to keep this Trump investigation open and talk about the language and everything.
Not a decision as the private lawyers we would weigh in on or have any voice in. I think that what we have to look at going forward, and I think this is what's interesting for the American people. I think right now the United States has an opportunity to actually come together on a couple of points. I would love to see, instead of all of these investigations, because look, and Joe knows this from his time in Congress, with Congress doing an investigation on the same topics, let me tell you what they're not going to get. They're not going to get 2,800 subpoenas, 500 search warrants, 230 orders for communication records, 500 witness interviews from 13 countries. So to me, instead of...
Look at the looks on their face. Oh, that's priceless. What he just said is you're not going to get in Congress. All they can do is ask questions that's already been asked before. You're not going to have a team like Mueller had. So what do you think prolonging this thing and trying to stretch things out, what it's going to prove? Is it going to change Mueller's report? Is it going to change you guys in a position where you'll still be able to convict Trump for something that he didn't do? I'm saying convict him on stuff that he did do. Check out the emolument clause and all the business dealings he's done since he's been in office, either directly or indirectly. How every time you go to Trump, Mar-a-Lago, they raise the rate when he comes in town. It looks stupid.
Wasting the American taxpayers' money on investigating something that's been investigated by the Department of Justice. How about this? And, you know, there are friends on my side of the aisle that may not agree with me on this, but I really would like to see comprehensive immigration reform. I think that could be done.
That's why I say I like Jay Sekulow, because Jay Sekulow, he's not a partisan hack. He's an attorney, and a very well skilled attorney. And you may not agree with him, but he gets the job done and he knows the law.
And I think that would be great for the country. And wouldn't it be better to spend money on that than it would be on an investigation that has now gone on for 3 years, but is already concluded now with what I'm sure will be ultimately a very comprehensive report.
All right, Jay Sekulow, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be hoping to get back to you.
Thanks for checking out.
Yeah, you'll be hoping to get back to you because you can't mess with Jay Sekulow. The man is bad. All right, so these hacks are still trying to find a reason to have this thing open, still trying to pin something on Donald Trump. And you guys are just making yourself look like bona fide idiots, man. Look, I'm not the perfect talking person. I jumble words. I butcher people's last name. I say offense to whatchamacallit and all that kind of stuff. But I got common sense, Joe. I don't know what you got. Mika's a smart one, but she's not allowed to say too much, dude. You guys need to come off this thing. There are real things that are happening in this world. Real things. Did you know about the pregnant woman in Mississippi that got beat up by the police? No, you don't hear about that. Pregnant. No, you don't talk about that. I am Robert Brown with the Robert Report. I'll let you later.